A child may be reluctant to engage in physically active play for lots of different reasons. Maybe the child doesn't feel well, or is just having a bad day. But if the inactivity persists over many days or weeks, the child's developmental progress could be delayed.
If they're not engaging in these activities, then you want to make sure that, there may be both physical issues going on, there may be social, emotional issues. In the long run, they might become kids that are subject to teasing, or they may be kids that are have a hard time socializing, and then on top of that, they're not being active, so they're not getting engaged, they're not getting the benefits from the health benefits from being active. So there are consequences to not reaching out to that child.
Children may not want to participate in active play for many, many reasons. And so part of a step to take is to understand why that is. I mean, certainly a teacher can be encouraging of a child to engage in play with many different strategies. That might even be the first line of defense, if you will, because, especially if a teacher isn't noticing yet a pattern in reluctance. So, but if there's a child who just seems a little bit wary, maybe the teacher can invite the child to do that activity with her. Like to say, we're going to try twirling, and Jenny, will you twirl with me? Or, or if Jenny is friends with Mary, let's say, and maybe Mary loves to twirl, and maybe it's like, Jenny, maybe will you twirl with your friend Mary? Let's try this together. And so part of it is, again, the role modeling. You as teacher are willing to try this too. And maybe children think, maybe it will make me look goofy if I do this. But if my teacher Lynn is doing this, then I might be more willing to do this too. Or if my friend Mary's willing to do this.
Ashes, we all fall down. Yay!
You would actually want to ensure that you are structuring the play so that it has multiple levels of intensity, so that there's both structured time and unstructured time. And then within the structured time, include some activities, or make sure the activity is not competitive, and that the activity allows for a child to self-select how intense they want to be. So if everyone's hopping in place for 15 seconds, everyone's just hopping in place for 15 seconds. It doesn't matter how many hops they get or things like that. And then on top of that, if you do things where you're encouraging with them, where you're maybe grabbing their hand or holding their hand and walking with them, or doing the activity with them, or putting a play partner with them, I think that matters as well. But really trying to also learn from the child, well, what are you interested in? What do you like to do? And maybe we could choose an activity, or every child can choose an activity that week that's, this is Kayla's activity today, or this is Joseph's activity.
If modifying the activities and encouraging the child don't work, then a teacher may need to take a structured approach to finding the cause of the child's behavior.
A lot of early childhood teachers are familiar with ABC. What's going on? How do I understand a situation? The ABC is antecedent behavior consequence. And so you say, well, we always go to this activity that this child doesn't want to participate right after lunch, or right after a particular activity, or right after. So it's understanding why is that happening? Was something going on previously that helps me understand this pattern? And also looking at what happens as a result afterwards, to understand the consequence of not participating. Some of it might be engaging with the parent. And this is really important all across the board, to understanding why a child might not want to participate, or even engaging the parent in encouraging the child to participate. There can be a teacher-parent partnership on not only addressing the withdrawn behavior and understanding why that could be, but also a partnership in role modeling what they'd like that child to try. Sometimes it takes something a little bit more. And very often, teachers are working with early childhood mental health consultants who come into their center, and they can talk to them about how to address behaviors that they're seeing. And sometimes the teacher doesn't have to know everything about mental health. They need to ask for that help and ask for that assistance, because sometimes it is a little bit something more, and to help a child deal with their anxiety might take a little bit more work between the consultant, the parent, and the teacher to help the child. And so there's a lot more to learn. We don't have to do it by ourselves.